Hello. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the show. This is none other than The Civil Point with your host, moi, Ariana Dieva. We are back with a brand new episode with a lot of crazy but actual some light in the darkness news that has gone down over the past few hours in the states of New York, in the states of Virginia, the states of New Jersey, and California. Very much a Democratic sweep. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube because you don't want to miss out on brand new episodes of The Civil Point with myself, Ariana Dieva, and you can follow on other platforms such as YouTube, and you can hear the podcast on Spotify. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on the clips, on the tips, and on all the craziness that goes on in this current administration. So we are getting into it tonight because we had major elections in New York, New Jersey, Virginia, and California, with huge sweeping victories for Democratic nominees. And we're going to go ahead and get into it. But before we do, Donald Trump is crashing out on Truth Social right now. And it is just so damn good and enjoyable. I think it shows a direction of this country where people are again fed up with lies that are being fed to them by politicians because, Condon is nothing but another lying politician. But people are waking up, the American people are waking up to the lies that he has sold them. And now he's crashing out and attacking his own party that has been so idly standing by him with their lips on his ass that he's flipping out on everyone, including his own Republican Party, for the losses of the Republicans in these major states for these elections. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is going on Truth Social. So his first tweet after the elections of Zoran Mamdani, which we're going to get into, who was elected mayor of New York City, he is going ballistic. He is going insane. And his first tweet 2 hours ago was, Trump wasn't on the ballot. And shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight, according to pollsters. He's saying basically, because you guys aren't me, you guys are not winning. Because you guys are not as corrupt as me, you guys can't manipulate the crowds like I can, that you guys are not winners. He just took shots at his own party for not being as corrupt and as manipulative and as good as it as him. That is what happened. So again, the American people are waking up to the facade that this administration has sold them for the past 4.5 years about running again, about making America great, about, fixing the issues. But instead, they have played nothing but fallacy ball here with issues that are non-issues, such as building a ballroom while America is about to starve, such as just doing things that have no account for the true American citizens that need help, that need assistance, that need guidance. And this administration instead does things like this and makes a whole White House page on the official White House website, okay, need I add, about the Democrat shutdown, which is not the Democrat shutdown, it is the Trump regime shutdown, that's what it is, a whole White House page about how Democrats have shut down the government for 35 days, 1 hour, 53 minutes, and now 30 seconds. A whole timer. They have time to dedicate to these petty ways to argue about a government shutdown that affects not only government workers, but now the American public with food stamps and SNAP benefits and a WIC being axed basically, and having to go into contingency funds that Trump does not want to go into to fund America's families for food and hunger. Instead, they're putting up these sites on the White House page showing how unserious and how much they do not care about the American public. Instead, they care about making dedicated White House pages to Hakeem Jeffries and in a sombrero being racist. You know, this is what this administration does. They want to continue being the racist administration, the administration that wants to laugh things off when there are serious problems in America that as president, as vice president, as the cabinet around this administration, you guys should be addressing, not only addressing, but fixing with actual plans. And we're going to get into it with his interview with 60 Minutes, Condon. It's just mind-baffling to me that every time he gets asked a question about what is your plan, he does not have a plan. He does not state a plan. He basically just says, you know, it's going to happen. It's going to get fixed. What's your plan? There is no plan. There's never been a plan. It's just been a coup to get power, because Trump has no backbone, he has no spine, he has no mind, he has no trajectory of what he wants to do for this actual country, because it's about grifting and making billions and raking in billions of dollars off of his position of president of the United States versus the public service position the president of the United States is supposed to be entitled to. Instead, it's about lining his own fat, disgusting, greedy, piggish pockets. So maybe these elections that are going on right now, these elections that are being won by Democrats, is now a backlash for the 9 months of hell you have decided to put America through. That you have decided to ignore America's problems, and now they're going to the polls to voice their frustrations and show that they do not longer support you. That's what this is. Because instead of addressing America's government shutdown that affects feeding American families, you guys are putting out these White House pages on official government websites poking fun at a racist racist AI meme that Trump posted months ago. This is what you guys are worried about. This is what this administration is worried about. Not about American families, about sticking it to the Democrats, because the Democrats are evil, right? So as Trump continues to lash out and go ballistic on Truth Social, he talks about Republicans terminate the filibuster, get back to passing legislation on voter reform. And obviously what he means by voter reform is voter fraud. He wants to be able to control who votes in this country because, like tonight, he is now probably pissing and shitting in his presidential diaper about how 2026 midterm elections are going to go. If now New Jersey, Virginia, New York, and California are voting on Democratic policies and voting into Democrats to be in power, that can shape what is going to happen come the 2026 midterm elections and the 2028 presidential election. So altogether, he's going ballistic, and he tweets, and so it begins. You know why it's beginning? Because you're not helping the people that you promised to help with the promises you promised them on day one to lower cost of groceries. How about that? Instead, now we're raking in $17 trillion, right? Or million or billion, one of those. So either way, it's all a lie. We're raking in billions of dollars of tariff money, but yet that tariff money is nowhere to be found to be applied to families who are going to lose food help, right? So something's not adding up here. And as I keep saying, there's chunks in the milk here. Something don't taste right, okay? Because it does not make sense how this administration boasts and brags about how they are raking in so much money for America, yet Americans are still poor. Americans are still going hungry at the behest of a government shutdown. Why can't you fund the government shutdown with the tariff money we have raked in, apparently, right? Allegedly. Where is that money? Where is it? So altogether, Trump is going ballistic on social media right now, and it is just so good to see, because I feel like this is a little bit of a bright light in such the darkest 9-10 months we've had with Trump in his second presidency. It's just been nonstop onslaughts every day of human rights violations. Just that encompasses everything. American human rights violations, whether it's Latinos, whether it's Blacks, whether it's LGBTQ plus community. Everyone can get it from this administration. Everyone can be put under pressure to where they want to destroy communities instead of help build up communities, other than the white Christian nationalist men who they want to embody America around as America's poster religion, Christianity. So it just shows that voting works. And Trump right now, with the elections that happened tonight, is running rampantly scared throughout that White House. He is pissing bricks right now, and he knows it. And now he's going to play the blame game. That's the next step. Play the blame game. Say that you Republicans, the people around me, because you're not as good as a corrupter, as a grifter, as a manipulator as I am, you're going to be the reason why we don't have the seats in Congress come 2026. You're going to be the reason why we lose the 2028 election. It's not me. It's not me, because he has a plastic ego that he needs to protect. He thinks that he's the savior of the United States, when in actuality and reality, he is the destroyer of democracy and America. So we're going to go ahead and move on here, but it's just exciting to see that we have a little bit of a light when it comes to the 2025 elections that took place in New Jersey, New York, Virginia, and in California with Prop 50. So let's go ahead and move on here, because I do want to talk about Mamdani, who won the New York City mayor's race. And that is something that I am so excited about, because it's just a breath of fresh air. When it came to Mamdani in his debates with Cuomo, he did say something very specific that I feel needed to be said. When it came to Cuomo, essentially, Mamdani was like, you know what? You have been in government, you have been in office, you have run New York before, and yet we are still in a position where rents are too high, groceries are too high, and everything, the expense of living in New York is just too expensive for an everyday working American. So tell me why we should vote you back into an office when your policies did not last long enough or affect enough people to make people want to vote for you again. So Mamdani, he changed the landscape in regards to elections. I think he is going to be a big player. I don't think that he's going to have an easy time, obviously. I think he is going to have a very tough time. He's going to have to play a lot of chess and be 52 moves ahead of Trump, ahead of his constituents who literally didn't endorse him until the last minute. I think he is going to have a very tough time, because people want to see him fail over the success and protection of actual Americans because of who he is. He is a Muslim. Because he is a Muslim, people want him to fail at the detriment of New Yorkers. So when we talk about Mamdani, we have to talk about what he definitely went on and ran his campaign on. So when we talk about Mamdani, he ran on rent freezes, he ran on universal childcare, free buses, and city-run grocery stores, and he secured a lot of endorsements from Bernie Sanders, AOC, a lot of the left-wing political, giants when it comes to having a voice in the community, when it comes to having a voice in the party. So I'm very excited that he won this. I think it shows that your racism is not going to, persuade or make fearful of for New Yorkers. New Yorkers have a mind of their own. New Yorkers will voice what they want to voice. And obviously, for the past decade, let alone the past 50 years, New York has become so expensive. So what is New York going to lose if we vote someone else in that is not the standard politician like Andrew Cuomo, who wants to have 13 allegations of sexual harassment? I mean, in my opinion, I think New Yorkers did the right thing by not voting in someone who has 13 allegations of sexual harassment, who stood there and tried to subpoena medical records from a woman's doctor. I mean, I think New Yorkers are on the right track here, right? I mean, a lot of America voted in a damn felon into the presidency, and New Yorkers are like, we're not going to follow that. We're not going to follow having a criminal in our offices. So let's go with Zoran, okay? So in regards to Zoran, let's go ahead and watch his speech here from tonight.
Evening. But as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity.
And I agree.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name.
Ooh.
As we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change. A mandate for a new kind of politics. A mandate for a city we can afford. And a mandate for a government that delivers exactly that. On January 1st, I will be sworn in as the mayor of New York City. And that is because of you.
I honestly think New Yorkers showed out. I think New Yorkers were backed into a corner by Trump, by Cuomo, by the big businesses of New York, threatening to leave New York, threatening to take their business from New York, threatening to defund New York, threatening to withhold fundings from New York that protect and help Americans. And New Yorkers said, absolutely effing not. We're not going to cower, bow down, and capitulate to an administration who's threatening our right to vote someone we want to vote into a mayoral seat. Absolutely not. So I think New Yorkers did the best thing possible. And I think the Trump administration pushed New Yorkers to do this, to put Zoran Mamdani into the mayoral seat of New York City. I think New Yorkers don't want to be told what to do. And especially when it comes to voting for their own well-being, they're not going to continuously vote for imbeciles who continue to not take into account the effects of New York City and continue to tell them that you don't know what you're talking about when these high elites are telling them that you are able to afford, but you can't. So I think New Yorkers said straight up, go F yourselves, big business. Go F yourself, politicians like Andrew Cuomo, and especially go F yourself, Trump, for threatening to withhold funding that helps keep New York City running. We're going to vote and have our voice, and we're not going to capitulate or bow down or cower to you. We're going to vote someone in who is saying that they're going to fight for us. And I think, again, Zoran is going to have a very tough time in that mayor's seat because people would want to see him fail at the detriment of the New Yorkers that he is serving. But as long as he stands strong, he does not capitulate, he continues to have a backbone that has won him this mayoral race, I think he is going to do great things for the city. I think he has great ideas. I think he has great policy, but it's just going to be a very hard hill to climb because, again, the racism run rampant in the streets of America. And it is shown when it comes to Fox News and right-wing media outlets that continue to demonize him because of his faith versus trying to, I don't want to say appreciate, but understand him when it comes to New Yorkers having this affordability crisis. When it comes to him and his policies, it doesn't matter because he's a Muslim. When you have these right-wing conspiracy theorists saying that there's going to be another 9/11 because Zoran Mamdani won, that is disgusting. It's wrong. It's racist. And I don't know how you can sit there and put these kind of tweets and words and document it online on social media for everyone to see and for it to be there forever. It's just insane to me to see that these Republicans, these racist, bigoted Republicans, have all these negative, horrible things to say about Zoran Mamdani. And I'm just glad that he stuck it and he won. And he said, I'm going to fight for New York. Unlike, Andrew Cuomo. He would have capitulated and bowed to Donald Trump and his administration, like he said he would do and has done. Andrew Cuomo said that directly, that he has came to Donald Trump and Donald Trump has come to him, and he's basically capitulated to Trump on numerous things. So congratulations to Zoran. And then if we go ahead and take a look, you see that Zoran Mamdani over here winning by basically 9 points for New York City against Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. So congratulations to Zoran, obviously going to be sworn in as New York City mayor come 2026, January 1st. And then I also wanted to look at a few other elections here. In Virginia, you had Abigail Spanberger, who came in and at a 57.5% got voted in as Virginia governor. That is a big sweep coming from Virginia, which is a very red-based state but turning purple. So congratulations to her. That is another big Democratic swing coming into these governor elections. And then on Prop 50, we had the Election Rigging Response Act, and that, 1 minute, my page just left me. There we go. In regards to Prop 50 and the Election Rigging Response Act, that Gavin Newsom is so gung-ho about, a yes vote means that the state would use new maps starting in 2026, redistricting, and again, it has passed. So these are all big implications when it goes into the 2026 midterms, when it goes into the 2028 presidential election. These elections and these votes, especially in regards to the election rigging map in California, it all goes into the fact that we are about to have a big swing because people are upset. People are tired of this administration falsifying information. Once again, becoming this paradox of misinformation when it comes to Donald Trump, when it comes to whatever they say. It seems to always be a lie. And when it comes to Trump here, it's just nothing but basically virtue signaling and this egomaniacal sense of I need to award myself for something that I'm not doing for the American public. So again, these elections are major and could have big implications come the 2026 midterms and the 2028 presidential election. Now, one election that I wanted to take a quick look at here is New Jersey. New Jersey, let me just see here. New Jersey was won by Mikey Sherrill here. And as you can see, pretty steep lead from Mikey Sherrill. And I think what led to Mikey Sherrill's big jump here, what I think led to Mikey Sherrill's big jump would be that speech from former President Barack Obama. When you see the stark differences in the language, in the demeanor, in the diplomacy of a former president like Barack Obama versus our current president, Cheeto Bandito, it is so stark in how these two men, well, one man, one scum, talk, how they talk about others, how they talk about issues, how one demonizes scummy Trump, and how one just spits out complete and utter facts about what's been going on in America, Barack Obama. I found his speech to be so just enamoring. He is a charismatic individual, and so is Trump in his own way. But the charisma of Barack Obama is being used to identify issues and fight issues, especially injustices when it comes to our government, when it comes to the abuse of the American people, when it comes to the abuse of power and the coup that is taking place, versus Trump's, whose charisma is used to manipulate the public and line the pockets of himself and his very few billionaire wealthy friends. So the stark difference between Barack and Trump is very clear in this speech that I want to go ahead and watch a little bit of, because I was so taken back by how elegant Barack Obama is and has always been. When he first got elected into president, Barack Obama, that was 2008, I was like 16, I think. I was definitely 16, because that was like, no, 2008, I was not even 16. 2008, I was 12, maybe 14, maybe whatever year, 2010. Yeah, no, I must have been like 12 in 2008. So I just want to go ahead and take a look at this Barack Obama interview. So let's go, not interview, speech, because it's crazy. I love how this man speaks. So this was Barack Obama's speech in New Jersey at the rally for Mikey Sherrill. And I honestly think that this speech for New Jersey blew Mikey Sherrill into a spotlight that she needed to get a win. With an endorsement from an incredible president and an incredible human being like Barack Obama, 100% sure that this endorsement helped her. So let's go ahead and take a look in regards to some of the things he said.
This White House offers up a fresh batch of lawlessness and carelessness and mean-spiritedness and just plain old craziness. We got a president who thinks it's okay to use the Justice Department, just for example, to use the Justice Department to go after his political opponents. And wait. Here's a rule. You can't boo. You got to vote. They won't hear you if you're booing, but they'll hear your vote.
I love that just quick one-liner. They're not going to hear you if you're booing, but they'll hear you if you vote. And this is why I say Barack Obama is a master speechist, because he continues to have these one-liners that are very truthful, but are very inspiring, versus Trump, who looks to demonize people with his one-liners, who looks to, like Barack Obama said, take out his political enemies instead of trying to fix America's problem. When it comes to Trump, it's about self-preservation. It's about self-enrichment. When it comes to someone like Barack Obama, he's sitting here saying, we need to fight for this country.
So you've got a president who replaces career prosecutors with loyalists who will do his bidding, and now he's telling them to hand over millions of taxpayer dollars that he had to pay in expenses for previously violating the law.
Here's the
He's got
facts.
a commander-in-chief who has fired decorated military officers because he thinks they might be more loyal to the Constitution than they are to him. No, don't boo. He's deployed the National Guard in American cities and claimed to be stopping crime waves that don't actually exist. We got masked ICE agents pulling in unmarked vans and grabbing people off the streets, including U.S. citizens. Don't boo. Grabbing them on the suspicion that they don't look like real Americans. We've got Health and Human Services Secretary who opposes proven science and then peddles quack medicine. We've got a top White House aide who calls Democrats, the whole Democratic Party, domestic extremists. And then we've got some poor labor economist who got fired for accurately reporting bad job numbers that Trump didn't like. It's like every day is Halloween, except it's all tricks and no treats.
When I tell you, the elaboration and the pinpoints that Barack Obama spout in this speech, from the Health and Human Services Secretary to Trump abusing his power to manipulating our government to, manipulating career prosecutors to go after political enemies. It's just everything he continues to spout in this speech is fact. It's fact, and it's driven by nothing but true facts of everything Trump has done since he's been in office since January of 2025. So again, I say this, the stark difference between Trump and Obama is that Obama is relaying in facts versus Trump is in this delusional fallacy world where he thinks the cities are burning down and, Tylenol causes autism. All these misinformation that has no factual evidence to be backed up versus the facts that Barack Obama is lining up in his speech here. It's all continuously just truthful versus the untruthfulness that comes from Trump. So let's go ahead and look at this one other part here.
Or demonizing each other. At a time when our politics feels just so broken, we need leaders like Mikey, public servants who are in it for the right reason, who are focused on the future, and who will always stay connected to the people that they were elected to serve. Now, her opponent, not so much. Mikey's opponent has now run for governor 3 times in a row. I believe in persistence, but at a certain point.
He is hilarious. Like, he can do it so diplomatically, but still insult someone. Like, you've run 3 times, but at a point, maybe you just need to stop.
So 3 times in a row. Other 2 times he lost. So this time his strategy is to suck up to the Republicans in Washington. So Donald Trump called Mikey's opponent 100% MAGA. Not a great endorsement. When he was asked to give the Trump administration a grade, Mike's opponent said they deserved an A. Don't boo. I know there's been great inflation, but really, an A. This is the best we could do. These are the same folks who put secret war plans in a group chat. You don't think there's anything they could be doing better? No room for improvement? Jersey, we don't need a governor who puts party and ideology ahead of the people that elected that governor. You deserve a governor who's going to think for herself and work for you. A governor who will create jobs and not cut them. A governor who will lower costs and not raise them. A governor who will bring people together and not divide them. A governor who will do right for the people of New Jersey, no matter what anybody in Washington thinks. You deserve a governor like Mikey Sherrill.
That won her race. That 100% won Mikey Sherrill her race. Having an endorsement from such an iconic figure and an influential president like Barack Obama, days before the election, won her this election, this governor election, 100%. Everything that he said, everything Barack Obama said in this speech was truthful. He listed out every fact. He listed out every grievance. He's listed out everything that Trump has done practically wrong in this administration, while broadly but specifically mentioning, the medicine of it all, the corruption of it all, the instigation of it all. When it comes to the self-preservation and serving nature of it all, when it comes to Trump, Barack Obama sat in this speech and said, let me list it out. Let me take some shots here and let me spit some truth, because the truth is that this man that's sitting in power is destroying America, is destroying American democracy, is trying to destroy elections. And this is now not the time for you to boo. It's now the time for you to vote, because they won't hear your boos, but they will hear your vote. And it's time to vote now before they rig elections to where you won't be able to have your voice heard. So overall, this speech was phenomenal from Barack Obama. And honestly, I have to think. I have to question. I have to, you have to kind of question, is he maybe gearing up for a third run for presidency? Now, I think Barack Obama had never thought of a third run for a presidency for a third term. I think he respects the Constitution, and in the speech that he gives, he is very clear and aware of what the constitutional limitations are in regards to a third presidency term. You're not eligible for one. But with recent transgressions that have been brought about from Trump, who is looking to seek a third term, who continues to say, well, I haven't thought about it, but it's not out of the picture. I think that speech there was Barack Obama's kind of foot in the door. If Trump's going to run, I think the strongest person to run against Trump would be Barack Obama. I honestly, in my own opinion, don't think there is a strong enough person, even when it comes to Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, AOC. I don't think there is a prominent figure strong enough to take on Donald Trump, male or female. I think he has a cult. Obviously, that may change, especially with the elections that just happened in New Jersey, Virginia, New York, things of that nature. People are starting to wake up a little bit. Maybe the spell, the cult potion is wearing off a little bit. But I just honestly think at this point in time right now, there's no one strong enough to take on Donald Trump if he decides to run for a third term. And I say that because there is no one. But someone who would be strong enough would be a former president who was a phenomenal president who had 2 terms consecutively, something Donald Trump knows nothing about. He was elected twice, Barack Obama, consecutively for 2 terms. I think Barack Obama would be a formidable opponent against Donald Trump. I think he's the total antithesis of Donald Trump. Even though he respects the Constitution, Barack Obama, I think he knows that right now America is at a dire point. And I think that speech at the New Jersey rally for Mickey I think it was like his coming out party a little bit without even announcing it was a coming out party. I think he's fronting and thinking about the idea that if we need to save America, maybe I am the best fit. If Trump can go for a third term, then maybe I can go for a third term. Even though I respect the Constitution, I need to protect democracy at the same time. So I just applaud Barack Obama for that speech at Mickey's rally, because it was continuously on point, serving facts, and continuously on Trump's neck and this administration's neck. From the Signal group chats to the Health and Human Services relying on quack medicine to talking about career criminals such as Donald Trump using his own political assets to prosecute and go after political enemies. Everything was on point, and I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. But let's go to this last part of the interview here. Of the speech. I keep saying interview. Here we go.
Revolutionary spirit. And that story says, we the people, means what it says, that all of us are included. That we are not subjects, we are citizens. Defined not by race or religion or gender or sexual orientation, but by our commitment to a common creed and a willingness to accept not just the privileges, but responsibilities that come with citizenship. That's what made the American experiment unique. Not just the size of our economy, not just our military might. It was that idea that you could get people from every corner of the globe, and they could come here and decide, I pledge allegiance to this flag. I will defend this country. I will make a life for myself here, and we could all get along. That's what made America special.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, not Trump.
Struggle and sacrifice. Through the faith of abolitionists, the struggle of suffragists, through a civil war and civil rights protests, through union organizing drives, through government reform initiatives, through investment in public education, year by year, decade by decade, we moved closer to those founding ideals, and in the process, we inspired the world. That's the story I believe in.
And through the process, we inspired the world. And now our America is on a watch list for human rights violations. For the past 50 years especially, we have come so far in advancing in all the aspects that Barack Obama just laid out. And now we are rolled back to a point where America is on human rights violations watch lists. That should say it all.
New Jersey. An America in which we all deserve equal protection under the law, and no one's above it. An America where every child has a chance at a good education, and anybody who's willing to work and find a job or start a business and make a decent living. An America where we don't fear each other, but we look out for one another. And we find ways to work together.
And this is what I'm saying. Here's the total antithesis of Trump. Barack Obama is saying we need not fear each other, while Donald Trump is saying Democrats are evil. Democrats are the problem. Democrats are extremists and terrorists to the United States and the Republic as a whole. Versus Barack Obama, who's saying we need not fear each other as neighbors. No matter your color, your creed, your religion, your sexuality, no matter who the you are, we need not fear each other. What we need to fear is the orange bimbo in the White House, who's trying to destroy America, democracy, and sow division into our country so deep that it's impossible to come back from. That is what the difference is and the antithesis is between a president like Donald Trump, a president like Barack Obama, and a dictator, a wannabe dictator like Donald Trump.
And if we want that story to continue, then we need leaders who believe in it too. Leaders who will tell the truth and take responsibility. Leaders who will tackle hard problems and bring people together instead of dividing them. Leaders who won't serve big bosses in Washington or big corporate donors, but instead will serve the people who put them there. New Jersey, we need leaders like Mikey Sherrill. So yes, I am still hopeful Yes, I still believe our best days are ahead of us. But here's the thing, New Jersey, even somebody as tough and talented as Mikey can't make it happen alone. Because all of us are being tested right now. Our convictions are being tested. Donald Trump and the Republicans, they want you to think that change can only come from on high. That a few people in power make decisions. The rest of us just have to live with consequences.
And I said this before. I said it before and I'll say it again. The Trump administration wants a panopticon. That's what they want. They want an overseer over the United States, thinking that you have no power to change and only the power to change comes from above. But the truth is that's a manipulation and a perception that is completely false when it comes to how America was built, what America was built on, and what America is about ideally, because the American dream is about the people. It's not about just an economic surplus of trying to achieve some sort of billionaire status. It's about being able to change things even when you don't have the power, money, or influence to change it from atop the panopticon. What it's about is about being an everyday American citizen, being able to voice your concerns, and being able to change the world you live in by your vote.
But when you look at the history of America, real changes always come from the bottom up. From ordinary folks who believe we can do better and join together to make change happen. So it's up to all of us as citizens to stand up for the values that we profess. If we want a country that believes in free speech and fair elections and rule of law, then we can't just leave it to somebody else. We have to fight for those things, even when it's hard. If we're opposed to violence against people we disagree with or look a certain way, then we have to speak out when those values are violated. If we believe in honesty and hard work and treating other people the way we want to be treated, we have to model it in our own lives, in our workplaces, in our schools, in our neighborhoods, in our places of worship. And if we want a government that is responsive and honest and competent, that works for the many and not just the few, then we've got to get out there and vote for it.
And that's what we did.
New Jersey, I remember just a year ago, I remember talking to folks who would tell me, this election doesn't matter. These are some well-educated, bright, people. They say, whoever the next president ends up being, it's not going to affect me. That's what they would say. If nothing else, the last 9 months should have cured us of that idea.
Exactly.
Because the stakes are now clear. We don't need to speculate about the dangers to our democracy.
Because it's right there.
They're here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to wonder if harm's going to be done to vulnerable people or whether the public conversation will become meaner and coarser. We're witnessing it. Elections matter, and they matter to you, and they matter to your family. We are being tested, and what is remarkable about America is that it gives us the power.
It gives us the power. And that's where I'm going to end it here for this on Barack Obama. But when I say a eloquent speech with truth, facts, and hope for America that Barack Obama continues to have had from his first presidential run to today in 2025, he continues to exude this charisma of optimism and hope for America. And that's what he did in his first election bid for president of the United States back in 2008. And honestly, I have to say it. If Trump wants to run for a third term, the only viable defense to Trump is Barack Obama. And I know he respects the Constitution, he respects America, but sometimes you have to break rules to protect people. And if Trump wants to run for a third election or a third term come 2028, I support Barack Obama running for a third term for 2028. It's only fair. I mean, obviously you're going to have these, sick bigots saying, well, Barack Obama can't run for a third term, then why can Trump run for a third term? They'll find some way to justify why Trump can and Barack Obama can't. But hands down, that speech won Mickey the New Jersey governor seat. That speech should be replayed over and over and over and over again at every Democratic election bid, because that speech is powerful. It had snippets, it had humor, it had charisma, it had facts. It had everything you need to win a race, to win an election. And I think he's phenomenal. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, back to unphenomenal and disastrous. Let's go to Khandan here, because Khandan had a disastrous interview on 60 Minutes. And when I say disastrous, I mean just, you can see the stark differences in how Trump speaks and how you just saw Barack Obama speak. So let's go ahead and get into this disastrous 60 Minutes interview from Donald Trump. All right, here we go. So this first part, he is going to be talking about the economy, nuclear weapons, Taiwan, and basically how America is playing catch up. And I just want to preface this here. This whole interview, it's virtue signaling. It's this, I don't know, this plastic ego where he needs to protect himself, where he needs to exude this complex of a plastic ego to protect himself. It's very much performative heroism when it comes to Donald Trump. It's this facade that he is building America back up and that America was never great. But the truth is, America was great when it was making progress in regards to civil rights. America was great when it was making progress in regards to health and care services. America was becoming great. And now we are backtracking to where science doesn't matter, where our Human and Health Services Director, Robert F. Kennedy, is out here stating unsubstantiated information about a plethora of different issues. And Trump is co-signing. We're rolling back times in regards to women's health and reproductive rights. We're rolling back times in regards to LGBTQ plus rights. We're rolling back times in regards to voter rights and how easy it is to access voting capabilities. So again, let's go ahead and get into this.
Government jobs are easy. I could immediately do anything I want with government jobs. I just say we're going to add on 1 million government jobs, and you're going to say, oh, what wonderful numbers. They don't mean anything. We are building jobs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. But when all of these plants that are currently under construction and to be under construction when they open, we're going to have an economy like our country has never seen before, the strongest economy in the world. We're doing very well. By the way, the stock market just hit, perfect timing for your show, just hit an all-time high. We're doing really well.
Can I ask you, Mr. President, on that point, though? Yeah. When the stock market is doing well, that doesn't affect everybody. Not everybody's invested in the stock market. But there have been grocery prices are up.
401ks, people have 401ks. Their 401ks are double what they were a year ago.
He doesn't listen. He doesn't listen to what people are saying to him. Not everyone has 401ks. She is 100% completely right. Like, not everyone is invested in the stock markets. Not everyone has 401ks. Not everyone is affected by how well the stock market is doing, because everyday Americans who afford groceries on a paycheck that is back-to-back weekly, that if they miss a paycheck, they may not be able to afford groceries or rent or an electric bill. The stock market does not affect them personally. The everyday worker out in Wisconsin, no. What happens is that, daily life affects them. So the fact that he continues to dismiss the fact that the stock market isn't really a true reflection of everyday Americans shows that he does not care about Americans. He cares about big business and how big business is doing, not about how Americans are somehow surviving off of the scraps that they are given.
for people that don't have 401ks
Well, I
or
mean,
are not
sure,
invested in the
sure,
stock market,
but
they've
it-
seen their grocery prices go up, inflation.
No, you're wrong. They went up under Biden. Right now, they're going down. Other than beef, which we're working on, which we can solve very quickly. So the ranchers have really taken a drubbing over.
Another lie. Inflation continues to rise and climb every month in Trump's presidency. So again, another lie.
30-year period. Because of what I've done, the ranchers have done well. But with that, the beef
And
price
he
went up.
blames
We're gonna get
Biden
the
for
price
everything.
It'll be very nice. Just like eggs. When I first took over, eggs were double, triple, quadruple what they were. This was because of Biden. All of these problems were caused by Biden. Whether it's the people that came into our country through jails. I mean, they were released from jails. They were released from mental institutions into our country. These problems are caused by Biden. We had an open border. Now we have a border that's, as you know, absolutely shut. Other than
I don't get it. Everything is Biden's fault. Why can't you take a little bit of, well, I know why you can't. He has a fragile ego here. But instead of continuously blaming Biden, because now it's getting to a point where it's just regurgitating the same talking points over and over and over and over again. And it gets a little bit tiring to hear. And it's like, I don't know how these maggots tune into Fox News every day, because it's the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not even like a news cycle. It's just a repetitive repeat of maggot talking points, such as Biden did this, Biden did that, but there's no plan to actually fix what Biden supposedly broke. There's never been a plan. There never will be a plan. It's all performative.
people are allowed to come into our country, but they have to come in legally.
I do want to talk about immigration and some other domestic issues, but just if we could stay on China for just a moment.
And if we want to talk about plans of immigration reform and removing illegal immigrants from the country, I honestly don't think that the plan of having ICE agents, a personal militia going into the streets of America, terrorizing Americans, is a plan. That's just called destruction. That's called feeding fear into the streets of the United States. That's not called being a president. That's called being a tyrannical, insane dictator. That's what that's called. And that's why you have so many courts fighting you on releasing National Guard into our city streets, because it does not protect the American people. Instead, it incites more fear into the American streets of safety concerns.
One potential flashpoint with China, probably the potential flashpoint with China in the coming years, is over the issue of Taiwan. The Chinese military is encroaching on Taiwan's sea lanes, its airspace, its cyberspace. I know you have said that Xi Jinping wouldn't dare move militarily on Taiwan while you're in office. But what if he does? Would you order U.S. forces to defend Taiwan?
You'll find out if it happens, and he understands the answer to that.
Why not say
This
it?
never even came up yesterday as a subject. He never brought it up. People were a little surprised at that. He never brought it up because he understands it, and he understands it very well.
Do you mind if I ask, when you say he understands, why not communicate that publicly to the rest of us? What does he
Because I don't
understand?
wanna give away. I can't give away my secrets.
He can't give away his secrets because he doesn't have a plan. There's no plan. Even if there was a plan, he would be able to say, this is what we're doing. This is our end goal, but there's not even an end goal because there's not a plan. He probably is incoherent and has no capability to understand what this woman is asking him in regards to Taiwan. Instead, he says, I'm not going to give away anything because he doesn't have anything to give away. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't want to be one of these guys that tells you exactly what's going to happen if something happens. The other side knows, but I'm not somebody that tells you everything because you're asking me a question.
So if the other side knows, why can't the American public know? Just a question.
But they understand what's going to happen, and he has openly said, and his people have openly said at meetings, we would never do anything while President Trump is president, because they know the consequences.
Less than an hour before your meeting with President Xi, you posted on social media that you instructed the quote, Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons
Right.
immediately. What did you mean?
Well, we have more nuclear weapons than any other country. I think we should do something about denuclearization. And I did actually discuss that with both President Putin and President Xi. We have enough nuclear weapons to blow up the world 150 times. Russia has a lot of nuclear weapons, and China will have a lot. They have some. They have quite a bit.
So
but
why
they
do we
don't
need to
have
test our nuclear weapons?
Well, because you have to see how they work. You do have to. And the reason I'm saying testing is because Russia announced that they were going to be doing a test. If you notice, North Korea is testing constantly. Other countries are testing. We're the only country that doesn't test, and I don't want to be the only country that doesn't test.
Are you saying that after more than 30 years, the United States is going to start detonating nuclear weapons?
I'm saying that we're going to test nuclear weapons like other.
And this is my problem. Not with the nuclear weapons, but how he perceives America to be so helpless. And he is somehow the God-sent savior to save America. He continues to spout this idea that America was never great and we're playing catch up. And he's saying it on live TV that we're playing catch up to other nations such as Russia and China with nuclear weapons. America has had the best nuclear weapons and, testing for decades. So I'm confused.
Other countries do, yes.
But the only country that's testing nuclear weapons is North Korea. China and Russia.
No, Russia's testing
So
nuclear weapons.
my understanding,
And China's testing them too, you just don't know about it.
that would be certainly very newsworthy. My understanding is what Russia did recently was test essentially the delivery systems for nuclear weapons, essentially missiles, which we can do that, but not with nuclear
Russia's
weapons.
testing and China's testing, but they don't talk about it. We're a open society. We're different. We talk about it. We have to talk about it because otherwise you people are going to report. They don't have reporters that are going to be writing about it. We do. No, we're going to test because they test and others test, and certainly North Korea's been testing. Pakistan's been testing.
Not nuclear weapons, is my understanding. North Korea has, but not nuclear
They don't
weapons.
go and tell you about it. And as powerful as they are, this is a big world. You don't necessarily know where they're testing. They test way underground where people don't know exactly what's happening.
See, she's presenting him with facts, and yet he's, again, rebuttaling with unsubstantiated information. And it's something that tends to be a reoccurring theme for this administration, to continue talking about points that have no substantiated facts, information, or evidence to prove that what they're spouting as fact is actual fact and correct. It continues to go on to this point that this administration has no clue what they're doing, a plan in place, or any sort of evidence to prove that what they are saying to the American public is true.
And you know what I call that? Respect for our country. They didn't treat Biden that way. When Biden went there, first of all, he hardly went anywhere. I couldn't leave his bedroom. But they didn't treat Biden that way. They had no respect for Biden, falling up the stairs, going to an airplane 3 times. I mean, this is a man who should have never been president. This was a rigged election. And we have to get back. We have to get to the bottom of that also, because we don't want that to ever happen again. You see what's going on? We don't ever want that to happen again. Look what happened to our country by having Biden as the president. Our country went to hell. And if we had another couple of years, if Kamala had won the election, our country right now would be finished. It was a dead country, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
It was a dead country, and now we have the hottest country in the world. Again, another talking point when it comes to MAGA and Donald Trump and his, ego complex and his savior complex of America. It's untrue. America wasn't a dead country and wouldn't have been a dead country even if Kamala was president of the United States. What is making America a dead country is the tariffs that you're placing on other countries that we are now eating in costs because our grocery prices and our product prices are rising. That's what's creating a dead country for America, while you're outsourcing and lining your own pockets with international coins. You're now putting a detriment to American farmers as well. So don't sit here and say, Obama, Kamala, and Biden would have been the problem when you're creating the problem. Not only that, you have Trump saying that, again, lying about this rigged election. This has been a lie and a Republican talking point for now nearly 6 years. And it's like, when are you going to get over it? What do you mean get to the bottom of it? You're the president right now. If you were able to get to the bottom of it and find some sort of substantiated proof that the election was rigged against you in 2020, then I'm pretty sure you would have found it by now, especially within your first 9 months of being president. Yet, you continue to have misinformation and these talking points that have no evidence to back up this rigged election claim. Like I said, if you are president, you would have found that information within the first month of your presidency. I'm not even giving it to you on day one. I'm giving you 30 days. You would have went in and found that information that backed up that the 2020 election was rigged. It is now 10 months into your second presidency, and you're sitting here still claiming the same facts with no valid or factual evidence. Let's talk about that, because it's untrue. It's untrue. The 2020 election was not rigged. Even the Heritage Foundation came out and said there has been no proof of voter fraud in the 2020 election. And if there was voter fraud, then it was 0.0001%, and it wouldn't have played a role in an effect in regards to Trump losing the presidency in 2020.
We have the strongest stock market. We have everybody wants to come in. A year ago, we were a dead country. Right now, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. Think of that. And I did that in 9 months. And it's only going to get better.
No, and that's a lie, because tourism is down for the United States because immigrants and people who are coming into the country as tourists are afraid that they're going to be picked up by ICE, detained, deported back to a country that's not even their home country. Tourism is down in the United States. Our economy is slowly dwindling as well. So again, he's stating all these talking points with no factual information when the antithesis is actually happening in our American soil. Like, it's crazy.
Let's talk about Israel. You got the remaining Israeli hostages out of Gaza. You arranged a ceasefire, however fragile that may be. Those are
It's
major.
not fragile. It's a very solid, I mean, you hear about Hamas, but Hamas could be taken out immediately if they don't behave. They know that. If they don't behave, they're going to be taken out immediately.
How do you get Hamas to disarm?
If I want them to disarm, I'll get them to disarm very quickly. They'll be eliminated. They know that. Don't forget, you said I got the remaining hostages. I got all the hostages out. But I always said the last 10 or 20 are going to be tough. But we were tough also. Say,
I got all the hostages out, but the last remaining 20 were going to be tough. What? What are you... He doesn't think. Listen to the sentence. I got all the hostages out, but the last remaining 10 or 20 are going to be difficult. I can't do it. This man is a fucking lunatic. It's a lunatic. No coherence.
let's vote. And you can open, the economy could open up during our interview.
Is there something you
Maybe
can do,
it
though?
did.
Is there something you
All
can
I can
do to
do
bring
is
this
give
to
the
an end?
facts. Here's what I can't do. I can't give them every year for 22 years, and you were the only president that let us do our job. I said, let me ask you, is this a job you wanted to do? Yes, sir, because it was the right thing. These are really brave people. These are really amazing people and talented people. When you can hit at midnight with no moon, with no vision, every single air shaft, where that bomb went deep into that mountain and exploded and beat the hell out of it, I'll tell you what, they deserve to come to the White House. I gave them all a medal. They deserve to come to the White House, and it was a pleasure to meet them. These are great people. We have great people in this country.
Mr. President, we talked about foreign policy. Now let's focus on issues here at home,
Okay,
some of that
sure.
you have already mentioned. We are now approaching the longest shutdown in American history.
Democrats' fault.
Under your...
You can't make this up. You can't. It's just like a automatic talking point. He's being presented with the conversation of the shutdown. Interviewer doesn't even mention Democrats or Republicans, nothing. Just Democrat shutdown. Democrats' fault. Like, what? Let's just rewatch this real quick. This is crazy.
Great people in this country.
Mr. President, we talked about foreign policy. Now let's focus on issues here at home,
Okay,
some of that
sure.
you have already mentioned. We are now approaching the longest shutdown in American history.
Democrats' fault.
Under your presidency, we're talking about more than 1 million federal workers who
Crazy.
are not getting a paycheck, including our air traffic controllers. You see there's traffic snarls out at the airports now. This weekend, food aid for more than 42 million Americans is set to expire. What are you doing as president to end the shutdown?
All we're doing is we keep voting. I mean, the Republicans are voting almost unanimously to end it, and the Democrats keep voting against ending it. You know, they've never had this. This has happened like 18 times before. The Democrats always voted for an extension, always saying, give us an extension, we'll work it out. They've lost their way. They become crazed lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is say, let's vote. And you can open, the economy could open up during our interview.
Is there something you
Maybe
can do,
it
though?
did.
Is there something you
All I
can
can
do to
do
bring
is
this to
give the
an end?
facts. Here's what I can't do. I can't give them $1.5 trillion so that they can give welfare to people that came into our country illegally, so that prisoners and that people from mental institutions and people that are drug dealers get vast amounts of money for health care. That I can't do.
So my
What I
underst-
can do is I can continue to run a great country. We have the best economy we've ever had. I can continue to do that. What they should do,
More
look,
talking
this started a long time
points.
ago. I always said, and you know I've been very consistent, Obamacare is terrible. It's bad health care at far too high a price. We should fix that. We should fix it. And we can fix it with the Democrats. All they have to do is let the country open and we'll fix it. They
Okay, but what's your plan? If you're saying Obamacare is so horrible, so high in cost that it's destroying American families, then what's your plan to fix it? He's been saying it since 2015 that he needs to reform healthcare, yet he has still yet to present a plan to reform Obamacare to make it affordable for American citizens. 2015, it's been 10 years now that he has been touting on this mountaintop of I'm going to reform healthcare to make it cheaper for American citizens. And 10 years later, he's sitting in the president's seat with still not yet even a first sentence to reform healthcare for a plan. So again, I'm sitting here telling you guys again that it's continuous talking points for the Republican Party. There's no real action behind the facade of their words.
Have to
ending
let the
government
country
shutdown.
open, and I'll sit down with the Democrats, and we'll fix it. But they have to let the country. And
So
you know what
your
they have to
plan-
do? All they have to do is raise 5 hands. We don't need all of them.
But so you're saying your plan is to tell the Democrats to vote to end the shutdown.
Correct, very simple.
And that you will put forward a health care plan?
No, we will work on fixing the bad health care that we have right now. We have terrible health care, too expensive for the people, not for the government, for the people.
So here's my thing, and you heard him say it. 5 hands. All we need is 5 hands. And to me, that isn't reaching for a solution to the problem. That's reaching for hands to just adjust the problem and put it on a back burner. And I think the Democrats are very smart here, saying we're not going to back down. We're not going to give you 5 hands that you need. No, we want you to provide us with some sort of detailed plan to how you're going to help Americans. And if you're not going to do that, because you've been saying for the past 10 years that you will, if you're not going to do that, then why are we going to trust you if we reopen the government that you will actually abide by your word when you have continuously showed that your word means absolutely nothing? Especially over the 10 years that you have touted on this motive to reform healthcare and Obamacare to make it cheaper for Americans, but yet you have not provided one sentence of a manuscript on how to make a plan for this. Because there is no plan. They just want to, they want this shutdown. The Republicans want to continue this Democrat shutdown because they know that if they extend it, they would be able to continue blaming the Democrats. And when in reality, America is waking up and realizing that it's not a Democrat shutdown, it's a protection of elites shutdown. That's what this shutdown is. It's not about Democrats. It's not about technically Republicans. It's about protecting the elites and that those Epstein files. And unfortunately, the contingency that's being put on the American people is feeding American families with SNAP benefits and WIC. Yet, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, is going to allow American families to go hungry in protection of providing protection to those Epstein files. That's who's sitting in presidency. That's who maggots voted in. Okay? Let's make that very clear. Protecting billionaire pedophiles over feeding American families, women, and children. That is what Donald Trump's main goal is. Not America. Protecting pedophiles.
Mr. President, with all due
are
respect,
paying-
you've been talking about fixing the health care
Sure,
insurance
and you
since
can't do it because of the
2015.
Democrats.
But
That's
since
right.
2015, you've said you'd
I've been
fix it.
talking about it for a long time. We almost did it. We were 1 vote short. We would have had great health care. We were 1 vote short, and a couple of senators that we currently have made the mistake, and they made a big mistake. John McCain made a mistake, frankly. We were 1 vote short. We would have had great health care. And I've been saying ever since, we can fix it. It's too expensive. It's got 2 things. It's too expensive, and it's lousy health care. It's too expensive for the people. They're going to get a very big increase this year.
Well, they're going to get an
and it's
increase
because-
if you don't extend the subsidies.
No, but the subsidies is part of it. We're supposed to spend trillions of dollars to take care of something that is defective. What I'm saying is we can make it much less expensive for people and give them much better health care.
But where is
And
that
I'd be
plan?
willing to
But
work
where's
with the
that plan?
Democrats on it. The problem is they want to give money to prisoners, to drug dealers, to...
Honestly, if I was this interviewer, I would have got up, walked out, and said, I am not going to give a platform, even if it's the President of the United States, to sit here, lie continuously, and not give specific answers to a plan that he said he has had for 10 years. If you've had a plan for 10 years to reform healthcare, where is the plan? Why hasn't it been brought out into a vote? Why hasn't even a word of that plan been uttered for the American people for cheaper healthcare options? Because this man, this scum, does not care about American people. Don't fall for these talking points, because if you actually look into the issues he's discussing, such as transgenders for everyone, which isn't even proper English, like, it's insanity. It's complete insanity that this administration continues to attack transgender people who are 1% of the population versus actually addressing issues in America that Americans truly care about, such as the economy, such as grocery prices, such as housing costs. He said on day one he is going to address those issues. And yet, he has still yet to address those issues with any plan in place to fix those issues. You were bamboozled in regards to getting him into presidency, because he knew if he was not in presidency, guess what? Those Epstein files were going to be released. He ran on releasing those Epstein files. And as soon as he got into presidency, that list was on Pam Bonnie's desk, and now it's non-existent. We have to continue going after the facts here. And the facts are that this administration is protecting a pedophile, an elite pedophile ring. That is what is at stake here. So, if we continue to keep putting pressure on this administration, they are going to crumble, especially with how the turnout in regards to the New Jersey, New York, Virginia, and California elections and votes happened tonight. If we keep putting pressure, they are going to crumble. They are going to make missteps. They are going to make huge mistakes. And Donald Trump is going to try and wield his sword of power so powerfully that it's going to backfire. So we just need to continue putting pressure on Trump, as we are doing. And how we put pressure is not by boos. Just like Barack Obama said, they're not going to hear our boos, but they will hear your vote. So I just want to continuously say, stay vigilant, and don't forget, especially with people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, that the left is trying to normalize right now. Don't forget that these insane imbeciles contributed to the state of democracy we are in currently. The deterioration and the destruction of democracy we're currently in. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are now flipping the script, contributed to this disgusting place we are in America. So don't forget it, and don't vote them back into offices, because they're grifters. They see something's going wrong and they're going to change their mind on it. But truthfully, she still loves Donald Trump and supports him. But stay vigilant, vote, and let's continue putting pressure on this administration, and let's continue putting pressure on getting those Epstein files released fully and unredacted, because every one of them needs to be held accountable. With everything going on, they are trying to divert attention from Epstein files, but we're not going to let it happen. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button right now. You don't want to miss out on brand new episodes of The Civil Point with me, your host, Ariana Dieva. You can follow me right here on YouTube and other social media platforms listed right here. And if you haven't, subscribe. And I will catch you guys on the next brand new episode of The Civil Point with Ariana Dieva. Have a good night and bye.